Hello, my name is Elisa Howansky, and the topic I chose for the conservation videos is heavy metal contamination in protected areas, specifically neotropical areas. I chose this because currently the research that I do is on heavy metals and their effects on people. So, heavy metals, they are bad. Um, we all know this. It's well documented that they have adverse effects on reproduction, development, neurology, a number of things. So bad. They can be naturally occurring, like arsenic in the Earth's crust. So dig down far enough and you'll get heavy metals. Or they can be the products of industry, like metal processing, creating products like batteries, etc. They're particularly harmful because they persist in the environment for such a long time. They are not biodegradable, they don't break down. Specifically for the naturally occurring ones, they're down in the Earth's crust for a reason. They are not meant to be up here. Um, so, of particular concern is protective areas because they can potentially be affected by offsite releases. And this is via like runoff or even animals going between heavy metal contaminated areas and protected areas and bringing plant or animal matter with them that's contaminated. So to talk about this, I decided to cover this paper, which is about heavy metal contamination in birds in protected regions in the Amazon. And what they were looking at was specifically oil and gold mining practices and how they often disproportionately occur within or near biodiversity hotspots like um, the neotropical areas, Amazon rainforest, and national parks. Um, and these practices obviously result in heavy metal byproducts. So what they were looking to see is if extraction of crude oil and gold is releasing heavy metals into the environment and therefore affecting protected areas. So to study this, they looked at wedge-billed wood creepers. They chose these because they are widespread in neotropical rainforests and specifically in Ecuador and French Guiana, which is their study sites. They have short beaks. Um, from what I read, they have the shortest beaks of all the wood creepers. I'm not really sure if that's true or not. They are insectivores, and there are 13 documented subspecies. And to make it even more difficult, they flock in mixed species flocks. So I imagine catching these was very interesting. These are their study sites. They sampled in locations in Ecuador and French Guiana. So if you can see here in the yellow pinned areas, these four in Ecuador, these were their reference areas. So these were reportedly clean sites. This blue area in Ecuador was near a bunch of oil mining facilities. So that's what all those red dots are. Not actually in the protected areas, but right outside. And then here in French Guiana is their gold mining site, which is where they sampled all of their gold mining samples. And the red polygons here are where all of the gold mining sites were. So they collected these samples between 2000 and 2009. They captured via mist nets, and they tested heavy metal concentrations in their rectrices, so their tail feathers. And they looked for basically any heavy metal that was a byproduct of gold and oil mining, so zinc, manganese, etc. For their analyses, they used gas and oil data sourced from the Global Energy Monitoring Database for choosing their sample sites, and they used that with ArcGIS and R. And all of their statistical analyses for the results were conducted in RStudio with tidyverse and RStatics packages. These are their results. So if you can see, the mean concentration of heavy metals is on the y-axis. On the x-axis is all of the metals. And just like before in the map, the blue is in Ecuador near oil. The green is in French Guiana, which is gold. And then the yellow is their reference sites. And you can see their reference sites also had a lot of metal, which is crazy. But what they found was that um, in Ecuador, where the oil mining was, that barium and palladium were the most prominent metals, and that in French Guiana, selenium, vanadium, and zinc were the most prominent. And they found overall that actually near the gold mining facility was where the most heavy metal contamination was. So the question, is gold mining and oil extraction affecting these areas? Yes, it is. And even areas much further than they were expecting. And they suspect, additionally, with the reasons I said in the introduction, that it's also possible that it leaches into the soil and underground water systems because of the large amount of waste products. What they said is that this is the first study of its kind. They weren't, they were looking to prove that there was something happening, and they were hoping that this study would provide a baseline for subsequent analyses and inform novel models for heavy metal mobilization and accumulation in neotropical systems.